Oh, my bad.
You're like, yep, that's it.
And I think that's what Jesus did for us. Like, we were out there, we were like dying. Like, we were dying in sin. And Jesus, he risked his life for us. And he gave his life
knowing he was going to get
Not
shot.
only did he risk his life, he knew he knew he was going to die.
Creighton Basnight.
Jonathan Burien.
Hey, man. Dude, it's honestly so good to have you back on campus. Like, first of all, it's like painfully awkward when there's no one on campus. Mm-hmm. But then you and I were riding back and forth over the summer because you were on this wild adventure. So, you know, everyone's like got their own thing during the summer. Everyone's at home or doing internships or camp teams. But I think you were the only person at Central who was doing what you were doing this summer. What were you doing this summer?
Yeah, so this summer I went on probably the most amazing journey of my life and one of the hardest. I did U.S. Army one station unit training to become a combat engineer. I completed basic combat training and advanced individual training in a 15-week program. I actually had to leave Central before classes were technically even over last semester. I had to work ahead because my ship date was 2 weeks before the end of class, so I finished that a little before the end of April, and then I graduated 3 weeks ago today.
Yeah, you were like, so this is like basic training for the reserves, right?
Army National Guard.
That's what I meant, the National Guard. Yeah, okay. So that's like boot camp, right? Or something?
Boot camp is different than basic training. So there's boot camp is the Marine Corps, and then basic training is the Army.
Us civvies don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, and then you finished your training this summer, like the day before you had to come back to class or something crazy.
Yeah, so Friday, August 15th, I graduated from one station unit training, and then Monday the 18th, I started my college classes.
Man. Okay. So I have some family who's been in the military, a cousin who was in the National Guard. And you just said that the journey was like incredible. Mm-hmm. Why? Why was that so impactful for you this summer?
I mean, for me, I'd say it's because I met some of the greatest guys that I'll ever know. I mean, I was homeschooled, so I like coming to Central was like one of my first major steps to like meeting a lot of new people, making connections and stuff. But then going to basic kind of really expanded my horizon. But not only meeting some of the greatest guys that I'll ever know, but getting the experience that I did, and especially like for me, because for those of you that don't know, I'm 17, and so going to become a combat engineer at 17 was just one of the greatest like experiences that I've ever had, because it taught me a lot about life. It like opened my mind to like, okay, this is the real world now, like especially with the military and like just like the history that the military has with, you know, wars that it's been in and stuff, and just like the way that was kind of ingrained in our minds when we were there. It was really like a life-changing event almost. Like there's just things that I'm going to remember from those 4 months that I spent there that I'm going to carry with me the rest of my life.
You also said it was the hardest.
It was the hardest. So basic training, everybody has to do that. Everybody that goes into the Army has to complete basic combat training. But becoming a combat engineer is different, because combat engineers, there's two types of MOSs in the Army. There's MOS stands for Military Occupation Specialty, and when you like choose an MOS, you can choose a combat MOS or a non-combat MOS, which I chose a combat support MOS technically, but I still had to train with all of the combat engineers. And when you're training with them, it's rough because you're literally training as if you could go into combat like the day after you graduate.
Whoa.
So we had to train like really hard. We had to do a 12-mile ruck in under 3 hours. We had to like deal with explosives and stuff, and it's hot outside, and you have to train as if you're in a combat environment, and they simulate combat pretty much the entire time that you're training.
Wow.
So it's difficult, not only the basic training portion, but also especially as an engineer.
So, man, I didn't even know you were 17. Did you finish high school early or what?
I graduated high school a year early. I graduated 10 days before I left for basic.
So, okay, because last year you were on campus a lot, so you were still in high school at that point.
Yeah, I started as a student here at Central fall of 2023. I was 15. I did dual enrollment for 2 years during high school. I graduated a year early, and then I shipped off to basic back in April, and then now I'm a full-time student here, and I'm a sophomore because of my credits.
Man, that's crazy. It's crazy to think about, and I love that Central offers this like dual, you can earn college credit that also counts for your high school credit, right? Is that kind of how that works?
Yep.
Wow. So, then you're back. Also, I got to do a shout out because you're like the superstar in our Torches Up music video. Like every time it plays, Emily's like, Creighton's so cool. So it was, I mean, from everything that you're telling me, like, sure, I can understand that it would be maybe mentally difficult to shift from a homeschool environment where you've had some interaction with people at the college level, but then you're like hardcore in a combat style zone with people you don't know. What was your like instructor? The lieutenant or whatever.
Drill sergeants.
Yeah, the drill sergeant. Were they like the typical movie caricature where they're like yelling and screaming and spitting in your face? And
it is so. The military has definitely changed over the past, 10, 15 years, because back when my drill sergeants went through basic, it was still like you're getting smoked all the time.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the Army is a little different. You're not like, it's not always like up in your face screaming and yelling and stuff. The first 3 weeks, it's like that pretty much every day the first 3 weeks, because basic training is split up into 4 phases. You have yellow phase, which is you have your first 72 hours, which is where you're getting smoked pretty much every minute of the day, and you can't do anything right. You're always getting screamed at. You always have drill sergeants up in your face, and then you just kind of start learning basic things about the Army and stuff. And then once yellow phase is over, yellow phase lasts a week. Once yellow phase is over, you transition over into red phase, and that's when you actually get to start doing like things to help you like complete your graduation requirements for basic. Like you start doing like obstacle courses and stuff. You do the rappel tower. You do rope courses and stuff. Just like confidence building things. Like you have to climb. I don't know if you ever see like in like World War II. Like films and stuff, like you have like sailors like climbing, or you have like soldiers like climbing over like ships and stuff, and it's that like big rope cargo net like going down the side of the ship. Like you have to do that. It's probably like 50 feet up in the air. You have to like climb up and then like climb over and then climb down.
Yeah.
It's like that.
But they're not like. So I was just thinking like your drill sergeants. They're not. Yeah. They're rough at first, but then they kind of ease off a little bit.
Yeah, they're rough for the first 3 weeks, and then they kind of ease off. And then unless you're like really doing something stupid, they're not gonna like jump on you and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like scream at you and stuff.
So you're in this new environment. This, I mean, I can't even imagine the shift that you just went through to go from home to basic training. I can see how it would be really physically taxing. It'd be rough because you're training your body to do things it hasn't done before. It's hot. It's new. But one of the things I'd really like to hear you talk about is the difficulty, like the emotional difficulty. This is a whole new experience. Like, I'm not trying to cast shade or anything on you, but I mean, were you ever like brought to tears? Were you ever like overwhelmed?
Yeah. So when I first got there, like my first night at reception and everything, I was like, I got off the bus and we were all standing there in formation. It was raining that night. And I was like, all right, I'm here and I'm not going to see my family for 4 months. And that's going to be rough. And literally like the first like 3 days, it was just hard for me not to like have like this deep sense of like emotion. Like I remember we had like the second day that we were at reception, we had the ability to go to the troop store and get like stuff that we needed. And I remember buying a Bible, and because I didn't bring a Bible with me. I was told don't bring literature and stuff with you because it might get stolen or whatever. And I remember buying a Bible, and I just had this like deep sense of like, this is my only connection to home right now. And so buying that Bible made me like really emotional. But then just like, I'd say that first week being gone was hard for me, because I remember just like, I'd be in bed at night and I'd just be like, what am I doing here? Yeah. And like, I'd have that like, I'd almost like start crying because I'm like, I miss my family.
Yeah.
And like literally the last day of reception before we shipped out to our basic training company, I remember being at breakfast, and I guess I wasn't like looking so well because one of the people sitting across the table from me was like, hey, Basnight, you good? I'm like, yeah, I just miss my family.
Yeah.
But then just emotionally, yeah, it was rough. I remember one day, it was probably about halfway through like basic training, like that part of one station unit training. We were doing PT at night. We had something called Beast PT, which is where we get to do like PT on our like physical training on our own time and do kind of what we want. And I happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Somebody was messing up, and just because I was standing there, I was a part of the group apparently, because these drill sergeants came over and made us literally just go like sit. Like they made us like go sit like straight for like an hour. Like we couldn't talk, couldn't move, couldn't nothing. I was just like, what am I doing here? I wasn't even a part of that. And then I just like remember flipping out on these guys. I like flipped out on them. I was yelling at them. And then I walked off by myself, and one of my buddies came over and was like, dude, you good, man? You're like messed up, dude. And I just started like crying, like right there in front of him. I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing here. I miss my family. They don't know why I'm here. All these people want to like mess around, and I'm just trying to like get through and go home. And like and thankfully this guy, he's one of my best friends. I've been in contact with him since I got out. And I mean, he helped me like kind of get through that. But that was just one of those moments where I was like, I can't believe that like I'm here, because it's been so long since I've seen my family, and I just want to see him again. Like that was the emotion that I was feeling pretty much the whole time I was there.
So this guy, did he arrive the same time you did?
Yeah.
So you guys are going through this is he close to the same age?
No, he's 30.
Oh. So he was starting the basic training just like you from the beginning.
Yep.
But he's just a little bit older. Okay. Yeah. That's a good connection. You were telling me a story about, I think it was one of your drill sergeants that shared their Bible verse. You were kind of like going through this mental, spiritual tension of, why am I here? What am I doing? And you shared with me that there was this verse you had. Tell me that story again.
Yeah. So one thing that we're required to do, like one thing our drill sergeants have us do, is tell everybody why you're here. And when I originally got there, I was just like, yeah, I'm here because I want the Army to pay for college and all that, because that was the original reason why I joined the Army, is because I wanted to get my college paid for. But while I was at basic, I like discovered like my true purpose. Like I wanted to make my family proud. I had a friend who was a deacon at my church, and he had served in the Army back during the Korean War, and he unfortunately died back in 2024, and I actually wear a wristband with his name on it to remember him. But yeah, the story with my drill sergeant is we were sitting in the classroom one day, and we were just kind of having like a discussion with our drill sergeant, and he asked us if any of us had ever seen the movie Fury, which is a story about like American soldiers who were like tank commanders in World War II or something like that.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene in the movie. I haven't watched the movie. I just watched like the one scene where they're in the tank, and I think they're about to get like attacked by Germans or something. And there's this one guy who was in the tank with him, and he was a Christian, and they're like asking him like some questions, and he pulled out his Bible and opened it up to Isaiah 6:8, and the verse says, and I heard the voice of the Lord asking, who will I send, and who will go for us? And I said, here am I, send me. And our drill sergeant said, I lived by that verse.
Wow.
And after that, like hearing that and then going back and like reading that verse and memorizing it, I was just like, I think that's why I'm here. Like there's a calling, and that only a few people are able to answer by joining the military. And because God gave me that ability, like he gave me like the physical like fitness, like the capabilities, I'm like, okay, there's a call and I'm going to answer it. Like here am I, like send me. And so after that, I like committed that verse to memory. I wrote it down on a piece of paper and I taped it up on my locker so that every time I opened my locker, I could be like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, right. When you're in the wrestling with that question, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. So how does that translate to what you're doing now? Because you're back at Central, you're back at school. What is the here I am, send me now? What does that mean?
You know, like that's a good question, because when I originally came to Central, my plan was to go into youth ministry. I had a lot of friends encourage me, like, youth ministry, man, it's the way to go. And I took youth ministry class, a youth ministry class, and after doing that, I was like, youth ministry seems like tough.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that. And so that kind of deterred me from youth ministry a little bit. So like as far as what I'm doing here at Central, I don't know if I've found that yet. I know that I want to go into some sort of community service. My goal is to go get my certification to go do firefighting, and because I just want to like help people, like serve people, like. But as far as like spiritually goes and all that, like I want to like help people. I want to bring people like closer to God. And I don't necessarily know if I like want a college degree for that, because I feel like anybody can, like with the right like motivation, can go and like serve God, bring people closer to Him. But having being here, like taking classes on like how to actually like do that and like how to make ministry more effective is helpful. Yeah,
because Jesus didn't say go and get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
He said go and make disciples. Like everyone is called to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that might look different for us at different levels. Like you can make disciples in the military without a degree. You can be a firefighter and make disciples without, but there is something unique about, so I think about being in the college setting with the equipping that Central offers. And so I think it's really interesting that you have this, like, I'm almost like sensing in my spirit, and so I'm just going to like throw this out there, and maybe it's just Jonathan, but this like, he gave you that verse for you to hold on to so that every time he says to you, all right, this is the thing, are you going to go to it? Like, it's not just a one thing, right? Like when you were in basic training, it was for basic training. And as this becomes like your life verse, here I am, whatever you have for me, God, I'm going to do it. So that's just really interesting, like, position to take in not knowing what he has for you, but saying, if I could get through that, and you were calling me to it, you've equipped me for it, I know that whatever else you call me to, you're going to equip me and prepare me for it. Man, that's, yeah.
Well, because it's interesting, because recently I've been studying in one of my classes the Great Commission from Acts like 1:8, and like Jesus is calling his disciples, he's like, go into Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and all the ends of the earth. And it dawned on me, Jesus is calling them like specifically to places that he experienced persecution, like the disciples knew, like he was literally crucified in Jerusalem, like.
And he said, start there.
And he said, start here. and the disciples have got to be thinking like, we're gonna die.
Whoa.
But he still called them to go do it.
Wow.
And it just kind of blew my mind that like the disciples are like standing there, and as Jesus is ascending up into heaven, he's like, go to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. And then not that much time later, on the day of Pentecost, the apostles receive the Holy Spirit, and they're now able to like go and speak in different languages and like start like ministering because they have the power of the Holy Spirit now, and they're just like, all right, we got the command. This is what we're gonna do.
It's real. Let's do this. Wow, that's crazy. I never thought about that. You want us to go back to Jerusalem? You remember what just happened to you? Wow. So, I know your sister goes here. Beyond her, she came here first. What is your connection to Central like? How did you end up here?
So, it's funny because I think it was back in 2021. My dad was a pastor at a small church in central Missouri, and my sister was, I think, 2 years from graduating high school, and my dad started looking into Christian colleges for her to go to, and he came across Central, and he's like, it's a small Christian college, it's only about like an hour away. And so in April of 2022, it was my mom and my sisters, we came over here, we did like a campus tour and all that, and then my sister started classes in fall of 2022 as a dual enrollment student, and she kept being like, Creighton, you gotta like next year you gotta like take classes. And my first thing was, heck no, I'm not going to college. I never wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to a technical school and like learn something so I can immediately start working. So I was like, heck no, I ain't doing that. And but then I don't know what happened. I mean, it must have been the Holy Spirit, because in spring of 2023, I just like got this like okay, I think college is for me. I think I want to go to college. And so I registered for classes, and I started taking classes in fall of 2023, and now here I am.
Man, that's so crazy to think about, because as you're talking, it makes me think about how the Lord like used things in my life to bring me to the point where I would also say, God, whatever you have for me, I'm going to do it. I'll follow you. I'll be obedient. Even if it looks like it's really going to suck, I'm going to do it. But it took going through these phases of I would never do that, or no way, or coming and leaving, like whatever. And then getting to the point where you are able to like recognize, oh wait, the way that the Lord has been moving in my life has actually been to prepare me, to position me to be willing to say, okay, whatever you say. Because that's a little bit of that where here I am, send me.
Yeah.
Central, okay, here I am, send me.
Yeah. And I mean, because that's like one thing. Like Central is such a small college. Like I don't know what we have. What do we have? Like 100 students, a little over 100 this year.
About 100 on campus.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
And it's like Central is such a small campus, like right in the middle of Moberly, stinking Missouri. Like, who comes to Moberly, Missouri?
Where is that?
I know. And I'm just thinking like it's got to be a calling from God to come to Central, because like Central equips the saints for kingdom ministry. I mean, that's literally in our mission statement. So
wow,
it's got to be the calling of the Holy Spirit.
Like, it's so far out of the way, it's so abstract, it's so hidden. Like, there's no reasonable explanation that you would be here unless. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you're a sophomore. Are you on track to get a bachelor's?
I'm currently on track to get my associates of biblical studies.
So you'll be done this spring?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to go do a bachelor's degree after that. I'm currently looking into going to a technical school to start my firefighting. My firefighting program. And I mean, we'll see if I get a bachelor's eventually. I know my sister is currently taking a criminal justice program through IWU, and she loves that.
Is that what she originally came for?
No, she has changed her degree. She's changed her major, I think, 2 or 3 times. She originally was going to do like Christian ed, and then she was going to do something else, and then now she's doing criminal justice. So yeah.
What do you? Is there anything that you can see on the horizon or feel like is the next thing that God is drawing your attention towards?
That's a good question. I don't know exactly. I mean, I know that I want to kind of expand in the Army a little bit. I want to at least get one, if not a couple of schools that the Army provides done. The Army is one of the Army's major things is like its schools. Like they've got airborne school, air assault school, jungle school, sapper school, ranger school, diving school, like literally all these like schools that you can go get like certified in and stuff. And I really want to go to air assault school. It's
air assault
school. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
not aerosol.
No.
Okay.
I don't have enough hair now for air assault. But no. So air assault school is basically like their biggest thing is attention to detail, which is something that we were taught in basic, but they really expand on it there. It's like you are given when you go to do a ruck, like you have your rucksack, which is like this giant backpack that's like
this.
No,
bigger than this.
A ruck is huge. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like a ruck is like it's like that wide, not that wide, like about that wide, and it'll be about that tall, something like that. And it's designed to carry a lot of weight. Like the minimum amount of weight that you're supposed to have in a ruck, like when you're doing a ruck, is 35 pounds.
Because that's minimum equipment that you're going to be carrying.
Yes.
Okay.
Like so you'll be given a ruck layout, which is where you'll have to have like a certain number of like things, and it's supposed to be laid out in a given order. Like you'll have a tarp on the ground, and you're supposed to have like 5 pins, 4 black pins, 1 blue pin, and it has to be like 3 black pins, blue pin, black pin.
Sure.
Like and then your dog tags are supposed to be like coiled up, like sitting on this section of the tarp, and your uniform has to be laid out on this section of the tarp, and it has to be like, you know, it has to be displayed as if you were wearing it, like all buttoned up, and your boots have to be here. It's like attention to detail, and if you miss the slightest thing, then you'll fail the school.
Right.
But also it teaches you like rope tying and like how to rappel out of helicopters and stuff. And it's only, I think it's like a 10-day school, maybe a 12-day school.
Oh.
But it's like very difficult, very like mentally challenging, physically challenging. But at some point I'd like to go to air assault school.
Yeah. So where you're at in the National Guard, it's like that 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, right? Do you have any ambition to like up that to a full time or?
I really don't know at this point. I have thought about going active, especially since I got out of basic, and I was like, okay, well, now I actually have to wake up in the morning and somebody's not coming in and turning the lights on and being like, all right, you need to be here at this time in this uniform. And I'm like, okay, I actually have to go back to doing this on my own now. And so I thought, like, active duty would be, it would be simple because I'd actually have that someone
telling you what to do.
Yeah. But also I like the freedom of being able to, like, see my family and, travel and stuff like that. Because when you're on active duty, you get 2 days of leave per month. And they tell you for like the first 6 months, don't take leave because you need to store up like 10 to 12 days of leave in case you have like a family emergency or something and you have to like take all those days. So I wouldn't be able to see my family. I would have to, I'd have to go to work from 6 a.m. to like 5 o'clock at night. But I don't know. It all kind of depends on where my life goes in the next couple of years.
For sure. Something that we haven't ever talked about that I am curious about is who is Jesus to you and how did you arrive at that conclusion?
Jesus to me, not only is Jesus extremely important in my life, but like Jesus, like he like saved me from my sin, and that's like a big deal to me. I grew up in a Christian home, and I was like taught the Bible and all that. I came to faith at like a really early age. I had a really good understanding of the gospel, like from like the time I was like 4 or 5. But I'd say I really became a Christian when I was probably like 9 or 10. And I got baptized back in 2019. But like to me, Jesus, like he literally like saved me. And like that's like a big deal. I think about like somebody in combat, like we like history of the Army is like something that we're taught, and we're taught these stories of like guys who are like in like Iraq or whatever, and they literally like risk their own life to go save somebody. Like you're being shot at and like somebody's out there and they're dying. And you're like, I could stay here and be safe, or I could run out there, potentially get shot while saving them, but I can like drag them to safety. And I think that's what Jesus did for us. Like we were out there, we were like dying. Like we were dying in sin. And Jesus, he risked his life for us. And he gave his life
knowing he was going to get
not
shot.
Only did he risk his life, he knew he knew he was going to die. And yet he still came out there and he pulled us out of our dying situation, and he brought us back to life by giving us salvation. And I think that like that's what Jesus is to me. He's our lifesaver.
That's a good word right there. I don't even think I can top that. All right.